It's one of the most explosive feuds in modern boxing. Two fierce competitors battling for undisputed dominance in a sport that once overlooked them. Everyone thought the rivalry between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano had reached its peak. But there's an unsettling buzz in the air, hinting that the real story hasn't even begun. If you think you know everything about this saga, think again, because what's coming next might just rattle the foundations of women's boxing and the entire fight world. Their past encounters blazed a trail of shattered records and legendary brawls. Yet whispers from industry insiders claim we've only scratched the surface. Undisclosed deals, private grudges, and rumors of broken promises are all swirling beneath the spotlight. And that's exactly where our story begins, at the edge of what we thought we knew, because the stage is set for a showdown that could change everything. But to understand why this confrontation carries so much weight, we need to roll back the clock and see how the feud began. Long before the lights of Madison Square Garden and the roar of record-breaking crowds, Katie Taylor was an Irish prodigy taking the amateur circuit by storm.
I'm training as hard as ever, smarter than ever as well. Training twice a day, 6 days a week.
She had the skill, the discipline, and a champion's mindset that made some critics believe she might be too good for any challenger. On the other side of the boxing world, Amanda Serrano was etching her own destiny.
You have to commit to rigorous training. You have to stay focused. You have to give it your all.
Racking up titles across multiple weight classes, proving she could dominate anywhere from featherweight to lightweight. Each name sent shockwaves through the ring, but they were on separate paths, at least at first. Yet in backstage corridors and press conferences, whispers started to circulate. When will Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano face off? People saw their meteoric rises as an inevitable collision course. Fans sensed that if these two ever shared the same ring, it wouldn't just be a fight, it would be a statement on the future of women's boxing. Their initial meeting was teased for months, almost like a mythical clash. Even as they performed media duties, mutual respect existed. However, sly remarks during interviews hinted that Serrano believed Taylor was hogging the spotlight, while Taylor subtly questioned whether Serrano's variety of weight class belts overshadowed real in-ring dominance. The tension was subtle, but it was there, an ember smoldering, just waiting for the right breeze to turn it into a raging fire. And that spark came when they finally squared off, launching a fierce rivalry that quickly became the talk of the boxing world. Their first encounter was a spectacle on all fronts. Fans poured into one of the sport's most iconic venues, craving a brand new chapter in women's boxing. Pundits hyped it as the next big thing, calling it a fight that would redefine the game. And in many ways, it did. Both Taylor and Serrano delivered a show that left the audience breathless. Fast-paced exchanges, near knockdown moments, and a final decision so tight you could have sliced through the tension with a blade. But that decision sparked outrage in certain corners of the boxing community. Some insisted that Serrano had been robbed, while others argued that Taylor's superior technical skill merited the nod. Social media exploded with post-fight analysis, memes, and conspiracy theories. Accusations flew, suggesting bias, judging, or favoritism. Even close friends of each fighter took to interviews, dropping cryptic hints that the real story might be happening away from the public eye. Some claim that Serrano's training regimen was hindered by last-minute ring size changes, or that Taylor's corner possibly influenced the officiating. The second showdown didn't just reignite the flames, it threw a gallon of gasoline onto the fire. Over 100 million viewers tuned in, making it one of the most watched women's boxing matches in history. The outcome? Another decision to victory that kept the belt strapped around Taylor's waist. This time, Serrano walked out of the ring looking more determined than ever, openly questioning whether the so-called sweet science had become a political battleground stacked against her. Those controversies planted seeds that would bloom into intense rumors, each fueling the drama to come. No high-profile boxing feud is complete without a slew of controversies and alleged scandals. And this one is no exception. Fervent debate erupted over whether money played a role in Taylor's apparent advantage, especially when rumors suggested that the event organizers, some linked to major promotional powerhouses, had vested financial interest in Taylor remaining on top. Then there were the more explosive whispers, doping accusations floating in comment threads, fans pointing to suspicious weight cuts, and talk of selective refereeing. Though no official proof emerged, the mere mention of these possibilities stoked public curiosity to a fever pitch. Behind closed doors, the fighters' camps began volleying claims of broken promises. Serrano's team insisted a handshake agreement for 12 three-minute rounds had been either ignored or scrapped without their input, fueling talk that Taylor was protected by traditional 2-minute rounds. Meanwhile, some supporters of Taylor argued that Serrano was trying to shift the narrative away from her own shortcomings in the ring. The entire debate highlighted something bigger than just two fighters. It was about the future rules and recognition of women's boxing. Those controversies extended beyond the ring. Rumors of personal animosity, allegations that certain promoters manipulated judges, and theories that networks favored whichever storyline would generate more hype. The phrase boxing politics got tossed around so often that it became a running joke. But the joke came laced with real frustration. Everyone knew big money and big reputations were at stake. One wrong move or negative test result could topple an entire fighter's legacy. And to fans, this wasn't just sport, it was drama at its finest, with each new twist adding depth to an epic rivalry. All of this set the stage for the third clash, one that promised to be even bigger, bolder, and more life-changing than anything we'd witnessed before. When news of a third fight first leaked, it felt like the entire boxing community paused. Was it actually happening? Were these two forces of nature about to lock horns again? Within days, the official announcement confirmed the speculation, instantly overshadowing most other headlines in the sports world. Set for July 11th at the legendary Madison Square Garden, it wouldn't just headline an all-women's boxing card. It would represent the first time female fighters completely took over the iconic venue. The financial stakes alone sent shockwaves through the industry. Sources claimed that both Taylor and Serrano would be receiving the largest purses in women's boxing history, a direct testament to how captivating this rivalry had become. The show was no longer just about a belt. It was about making history, redefining female athleticism, and capturing the attention of fans who typically reserve their Saturday nights for men's bouts. What made this looming fight even more astonishing was the platform streaming it. Netflix, a streaming giant best known for addictive drama series and binge-worthy documentaries, had decided to venture deep into live sporting events. And not just any sporting event, this one. Some experts called it the biggest cross-promotional coup in women's boxing, while others labeled it a risky gamble. But one thing was certain, the eyes of the world would be firmly locked on Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Neither fighter wasted time hyping the confrontation. Taylor continued to tout her undefeated record, maintaining that her past victories were legitimate, fair decisions. Serrano countered by promising to finally expose the truth behind their previous fights. With so much on the line, personal pride, legacy, massive paydays, this third clash threatened to overshadow every boxing event planned for the rest of the year. Many believed it might be the final word in a rivalry that had become the beating heart of women's boxing. Yet even as the official announcements went live, rumors of personal drama, secret training injuries, and explosive behind-the-scenes feuds started emerging. While the press releases painted a picture of two dedicated athletes laser-focused on victory, informal channels told a more turbulent story. Insiders whispered of disagreements between trainers, each suspecting the other of sending spies to capture footage of private sessions. People close to Serrano mentioned that she'd been quietly battling an old arm injury, nursing it in secret for months. Meanwhile, a rumor circulated that Taylor's sparring partners had threatened to walk away if they didn't get hazard pay, implying the training sessions had reached an almost dangerous intensity. Social media chatter only added fuel to the speculation. Cryptic tweets from family members hinted at personal vendettas that stretched well beyond the ring. A quick post, promptly deleted, claimed that a backstage spat between the two fighters nearly turned physical during a promotional shoot, an assertion that neither side confirmed. And then there was the Netflix factor. Allegedly, the streaming giant was documenting every juicy moment, hoping to produce a behind-the-scenes feature if the live broadcast pulled massive numbers. All of it contributed to a sense that this wasn't just a high-stakes championship fight. It was the culmination of personal feuds, professional ambitions, and a potential blueprint for the future of women's sports. In interviews, Serrano vowed she wouldn't just defeat Taylor, she'd crush her spirit so decisively that no one would ever question the outcome again. Taylor, true to her stoic style, calmly insisted she was ready for any storm Serrano brought. Some skeptics dismissed the drama as promotional hype, but dedicated fans sensed something real simmering below the surface. There's a certain look in both women's eyes whenever they're asked about the other, an intensity that can't be faked. It's the look of two individuals who believe the other robbed them of something precious. Whether it's a rightful belt, a sense of respect, or an untainted legacy, both fighters seem willing to risk everything to come out on top. So where does that leave us? At the brink of a collision that could reshape boxing and maybe settle a feud that has turned the sport on its head? The world is counting down to July 11th. Millions are bracing for a bout that could finally deliver the definitive answer to who truly reigns supreme. Katie Taylor, the composed technician with titles to spare, or Amanda Serrano, the relentless powerhouse on a mission to uproot an entire narrative of decisions she believes weren't fair. But even as we wait, it's impossible to ignore the possibility that this third fight might only fan the flames of controversy. What if Serrano wins by decision this time, prompting Taylor's supporters to claim bias in return? Or what if Taylor scores a last-second stoppage, triggering an immediate rematch demand from Serrano's corner? Could this be the finale that ends the saga once and for all? Or just another chapter in an ever-evolving story that neither fighter is ready to close? Beyond the immediate drama, there's a bigger theme at play. This rivalry has done more to elevate women's boxing than any promotional effort in recent memory. It's also placed a glaring spotlight on the pay discrepancies, rule questions, and long-standing stigmas female fighters face. If Taylor and Serrano can break records at the world's most famous arena and hold their own on a global streaming giant, what else is possible for women in sports? In a world hungry for authenticity and raw competition, the Taylor-Serrano clash offers both. It's a narrative so compelling that it transcends gender lines, appealing to anyone who loves a fierce battle of wills. And somewhere in the background, the next generation is watching, young girls dreaming of becoming fighters themselves, seeing that two women with vastly different backgrounds can stand on the same stage and command the world's attention. So here we stand, on the precipice of history. The countdown is ticking, the training camps are in full swing, and the entire boxing universe is holding its breath. Will this fight bring closure, or simply stoke a rivalry so intense that it refuses to be contained? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, when Taylor and Serrano finally swept into that ring again, every jab, every slip, and every audible gasp in the crowd will echo far beyond the final bell. Until that moment arrives, all we can do is speculate, and perhaps prepare to be shocked. Because sometimes the stories we think we know have a way of taking the most unpredictable turns. And if there's one thing the Taylor-Serrano feud has taught us, it's that nothing is certain until the gloves come off and the bell rings. Could this third fight be the ultimate exclamation point on a legendary rivalry? Or is it merely the start of a fresh storm in women's boxing? Only the ring holds that answer, and it's inching closer by the day. Thank you for watching. This has been an in-depth look at a rivalry that refuses to fade, a story that might redefine the entire landscape of women's boxing. If you found yourself caught up in the suspense, consider sticking around, because the punches have barely begun to fly.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on future content like this. And if you really liked it, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.